I am Terrence Moore,
Good morning. I am Cheryl Moore.
and welcome to Monday with the Moores. It is a wonderful Monday morning, April
Monday.
8th, 2019.
April.
Oh, the wonderful month of
It's
April.
we're in Wisconsin, and actually today is going to be a beautiful day. So I'm looking forward to going out a little bit after my last class today. So good morning to you as you kind of log on, and we continue. I'm still waking up. Okay.
And as always,
You all know
I'm a
how
morning
it
person.
goes.
I'm a morning person, so I am like pretty much wired. So I'm excited about this morning. I'm excited about what God is doing.
Always been a problem with that abnormality.
It's not an abnormality. It's something that she just fails to understand.
Okay.
After almost 26 years, there's a failure to understand moi.
Right.
And I'm not a complex individual. I'm pretty straightforward.
You are simple.
That's right. I don't like the toning of simple. See, there's still deliverance that's needed in the house. I'm trying to tell you.
Simplicity is
whatever. Oh gosh. Anyway, last week we had talked about how I was talking about how we were meeting. Good morning, everyone. Morning, Tasha and Tony and Melda. we like last week we had talked about when I was teasing you about your drip.
No. First of all,
what?
Yes, okay. We were talking about when you had the audacity to allude to the fact that you thought I would go out with you on a date, and if we went out someplace, it was always as friends.
Right.
So he had the audacity to actually think I would go out with him, and was offended. Remember that? You guys remember?
Well, because I'm like.
Was offended because I said you're not my type. I just would.
Yeah, because she was dealing with this psychotic doctor at this time.
Doesn't matter if you're not my type.
Yeah, I guess she liked the psychotic type at that time, and I was trying to bring some sensibility and balance balance to her life. She was all super spiritual, but she did this this doctor, but he was crazy, didn't treat her right, and everything else. And
you're still not my type.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't crazy enough. I don't know what it was. But anyway, I would have to say that the thing that even got me to that point, good morning, Diana, the thing that got me to that point was, I think, by this time we've known each other about 3 years, but through all of that.
It was 3 years in, was it?
Yeah, it was coming up on 3 years. Yeah, it was coming up on 3 years, because that was the year I found out that she was, yeah. When? How many years? Because you got the elephant memory.
Right.
Okay. So about two years. And this has been this is
stretching.
See you later, Josh. And this was the time, we already found out that,
see, we already had our family morning prayer. Watch Josh, right?
You just want to come in.
He's gonna be on here. That's all.
Whatever. That boy. I don't know what to say. But anyway,
I'm not gonna call Josh little young baby
man.
name. I won't do that yet.
Yeah, but during the time, and then we were just talking, and we were just really sharing, and I think I got to the point where I had already found out about okay, I'm gonna be a father, so I was already at that point, and just making some transitions. And I realized that I really like her, and I'm like, this is really not good. And it took me a while.
Why did you ask me?
Because
and then the approach was so awful.
Because it's like it's you
in the radiology department.
It was you.
To clock out from
it's like, look,
you see how disrespectful that is?
It's not like I just met her. It's not like I just met her. It's like I knew her. She was my friend. She was my friend. She was my best friend. And it was like, this is not good. this is what's going on in me.
That's true.
This is what's going on inside. I'm like, this is not good. I'm really like falling for my friend. This is not good. And at first I was like, okay, because she was there during a vulnerable time and she was, there. She was like, would come to the school. She would just take time out just to come pray for me and anything like that. So it's like, no, it's not a vulnerability issue. It's not, and we would talk a lot. I mean, we would talk a lot. We would eat food together. I knew her family. That's how close we were. I knew her family, and it was like, this is weird. This is
so
like
we worked weird.
And I had a baby. I had a baby, so I was like,
my shift ended up changing though.
Yeah,
I was working second shift. I think you were working second shift too.
Yeah.
Except when we came in on the weekend.
On the weekend, yeah, because during the day I was in school.
Right, and for that,
I went to get my 2-year degree.
For that, I would like cook dinner because I still live with my family. And when I cook dinner, I would always take my dinner to work. Mm-hmm. He liked my cooking.
Yeah, girl can cook. Oh my God, that is one thing I love. I think
it was the cooking.
I think the only time
he really liked me. He liked my food.
Well, benefit. I think the only time you brought food that you didn't cook was when we went to Hardee's and got breakfast. But every time she brought food was something that she cooked.
I got lunch from Hardee's.
Cooked, not salad, something that she heated up in the microwave. And on Saturday mornings, it was the biscuit and gravy. Right. That's crazy. I remember that yesterday.
He asked me out, and then when I came back to work, people were like, "Cheryl, you really don't date. You don't know much, do you?" He was really asking you out. And I was like, I don't know why Terrence would do something dumb like that. Mm-hmm. Terrence can't afford to take me to dinner. He got to buy diapers. God. That was my main thing.
And she reminded me.
You can't afford dinner. You got diapers.
Let's go to lunch. Let's go to lunch, Cheryl. Don't you have some soy milk? Don't you have to buy? Nursoid. You don't have some soy milk? Right. Or in some milk, don't you have to buy?
That was my thing. You can't afford me. All your money is going to diapers.
Girl, I got coupons.
Coupons. And then actually when we went out, I didn't get it. And so I kind of like started hee-hawing around. I was like, then let me tell y'all how you lied.
That was later.
Wait, let me tell them how you lied. Cheryl, well, actually, I was doing it and I fell for it. Like, there is somebody that really does like you. I was just testing.
Oh! It wasn't a lie. It was a ploy.
He said
it was a ploy.
I was just testing the temperature. That's what he said. I was like, there's somebody interested? Yeah. Well,
because approaching her was so different.
I know the brother really well.
This is different. She was different. She was
not in the church the way you are. Mm-mm. None of that. All of that stuff is so my goofy self. My gullible gumbo dumbo self fell for it. I was like, who is it? Tell me about it. Tell me about the person. And the whole time it was this. So finally I said, if you don't tell me who it is, I'm going to pray. And if you know, if I pray,
Lord.
God is going to
She used the P word. She used the P word.
P word,
pray.
Pray.
Oh, God.
Yes.
I was like, all right, when she started praying, I know God will talk.
So
God will run his mouth.
Yes. And so here's the interesting thing. My best friend, even to this day, she's a pastor, not my best friend, but a woman of God that spoke a word into my life. She's a pastor now. At the time, she was she's still a prophet, very prophetic. And I went to her house and prayed. And this is interesting. All of this is going around at the same time. She says, there's a young man in your life. No, he said, there's a young man in my life, but she told me I was going to get married. She told me I was going to be a doctor. So that's the crazy thing. So I'm thinking I'm going to medical school, and I ended up not going to medical school.
But we were both working at the hospital.
We were both working at the hospital because you just couldn't tell me I wasn't going to medical school. And see, this is how you got to really look at how life unfolds and the deeper meaning of things. She said, God wanted me to help people and to educate people about their life. And so I attributed that shortage of understanding that I was going to medical school. And in essence, I was going to get a PhD, a doctor, but it was going to be a doctor where I was going to educate people about their life. And that's very true. And so she said, at the time I was visiting her, she saw a young man that was not yet saved. And I was going to win my husband to the Lord. And God said, if you win him for his soul for me, you could have him. And I was like, well, I don't care. At that time, I had so many bad decisions in relationships and just didn't do well. I was already at peace. I was satisfied. I wasn't real desiring to be married at all. It wasn't even on my radar. And so it was a very interesting word. And so I had no idea it was that one. I just kept looking other places and at other guys. And I was talking to and witnessing to, thinking it was one of them, but not that one. And so we ended up I was like, well, I prayed about it, and Terrence's face kept coming in my dream world. I'm a really strong dreamer. I get a lot of answers in dreams, probably because I'm so analytical. The Lord have to knock me out. So
in
I
her
went
area.
to a dictionary, scientific study of God. So anyway, I said, Terrence, this guy you're talking about, what guy? That's what he said. What guy? Like totally clueless. I said, the one that likes me. So then we had these drawers at work, right? Where we put our stuff in it. We shared a drawer, and because we were short on drawers for storage space. Mm-hmm. So I put a note in there, oh, I think it's your big head. And he goes, and then that's how we never talked about it. We started passing notes. You're in kindergarten. And you passed notes.
We were very kiddish.
Do you like me? Check yes or no.
In college, I'm out there and I revert. I revert.
Dumbest thing ever. But in my mind, I thought it was so cute. It was so stupid. It was so stupid till it was cute.
Because I didn't know. I would have to say this. This shoe's kind of. I can't even
afford. You gotta buy diapers.
Yeah, this
because you stopped telling me. I know I have to buy the diapers. I know I have to. I was like, well, how can you take me to dinner? Okay, so I finally agreed. Okay, let's go out.
At that time, I knew how to manage my money.
Y'all don't even know. Okay, so we go. We agree we're gonna go out for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
We went. There was no upscale.
Mm-mm.
He takes me to this place called Sharky's, like downtown near the college campus. But I love Sharky's. They have the best subs and pizzas. So we go to Sharky's. First, I'm like, well, this feels kind of weird. Because it's like, okay.
Now it's like it's a date.
Now it's kind of weird. You don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Then he asked all these deep personal questions. I'm like, this guy I knew you had issues. I didn't know Terrence had some kind of issue. Like, you have no filter. And you know what? Man. This month you would be married 26 years and the guy still has no filter.
Look here, you would never have to guess.
No time
what's on my mind.
Personal questions.
You would never.
None.
Keith, that's right.
If
Sharky's, man.
If you are on the first time date, how you gonna ask me if I like French kissing? Do I know how to French kiss? Like this?
Because she a church girl, ain't no telling. Now I knew she already had been in relationships.
Asking personal questions.
Look, everybody who knows they never have to guess what's on my mind. I'm just gonna ask it. It just don't matter. It don't matter. I got my look at my brother from another mother from high school. Keith will tell you, look. You ain't got to guess. Terrence is unfiltered.
This is a psycho guy. And at that point, I was like, well, that was really weird. So then
I just asked a bunch of questions.
I didn't say anything. He goes, Cheryl, what's wrong? I was like, you're just weird. You're just something wrong with you. He goes,
like, well, with that bougie mind.
Yeah. Well, you like me. It doesn't matter. I was like, okay. So it goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of, off and on, not too much. We really kind of distanced ourselves more. We really didn't know how to handle it.
That's a good point, Keith.
What did
We,
he say?
we don't ask it. We don't ask no questions nowadays.
Oh my God. He had no problems asking questions. I mean,
I'm a ass.
you know what I'm saying? Down to the lotion deodorant. You know what I'm saying? He just had no problem.
And and that's the point. It's like that is a very good point that Keith brought up. Is the fact that
But I'm not trying
it's
to
like,
marry you.
look here. I want to know who I am dealing with. You don't look here. I don't know. Yeah, you're a prophet by day, but you may be a psycho at night.
Let me tell you what I
don't. We were close, but it's like now I'm dealing with the real personal part, and I'm going to be involved with this.
Going too
fast. I don't know.
Going
Katasha, you are so right. I get that from Mama.
Going too fast.
You are so right. All up in your business.
So let me tell you what I did. I don't think it was mean, but he said, he had asked me a question, do you think we would ever, how far do you think this is going to be long term? I was like, what's long term? We're just kind of talking.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, no, we're dating.
Just in case
you're
first
dating.
Date.
This is not like exclusive. Now y'all say exclusive. I don't even know we weren't even saying anything like that.
Right.
So let me tell y'all what I did. Some of y'all probably don't think this is me, but whatever. So I went to the store and I bought some diapers and I put them in the storage, but I was like, no, this is not going far because see where you're at? And he goes, Cheryl,
she was so mean.
He was so emotional over that.
Like, you. And see, I remember I was in church, but I still wasn't saved. And man, She
what?
she told
you where I was at.
Look here, and I became more filtered.
I agree that
I cussed.
Shouldn't I tell him where I was at?
I was like, what the
okay,
what's this all about?
Respond to me. Do you think I should be I should have been honest and just express where I was at the whole situation?
It's like you knew, like what we didn't have 50,000 conversations about this, and I was cussing up a storm, and I was like, see what the and he was
mad.
I was what?
Then he asked me to go out again. I said, no, I don't think this is a good idea. So I just kind of dropped it. I think my auntie come home for a visit and she goes, Cheryl, he saw Terrence. At my graduation and was like
and I had an earring in my ear too.
Yeah.
Her mom hit the roof. She was like, she already knew me. Like I said, she knew me, but I didn't have my earring in my ear. When she saw me with the earring,
my mom said, Cheryl, I thought you said Terrence was getting better.
And then your Aunt Cookie, man. I love Aunt Cookie.
Oh, Cheryl, he's in love with you. That guy wants to marry you. I'm like, Auntie Cookie, that's not happening. Yes, it is. Next thing you know, I don't know, it just went so fast. And then I think the following year, I don't know, I'm losing track. Anyway, no, before I graduated, I ended up actually kissing him. We kissed for the first time. And gonna say, oh my gosh, you're such an amazing kisser. I've never had a girl kiss me like that. I said to myself, shut up. You just do too much.
I see.
So anyway, we dated, we talked a lot. Finally, we got over the tough part and talked. And I think that's how we realized it was. Sometimes when you're like in relationships or you're with somebody, you can't see it. It becomes awkward. We didn't force it. We talked a lot. I asked a lot of personal questions too after a while. I really asked a lot of personal questions. We talked a lot. And no, my parents weren't. And I get why my parents weren't, because too very supportive of it. Is this the best idea at this time? Because you have somebody that's a new father and a new situation, adjusting, and it was not something that was planned at all.
Right.
But everything just started to accelerate and
fall in line.
And that was crazy. It was rough the entire time. I remember the first time I met his mom, we went to the house and she goes, hi, nice to meet you. Okay, Cheryl. Right, y'all go pick up third because he's at school playing sick. He's in high school. And then I met his sister through a lunch, and then they came to my house. We're going to lunch Terrence walks away from the lunch table and she goes, so how you feel about being a mother to my niece? I'm like, where did you get that from?
Like the
We're
first,
not even married.
it's
Like,
like,
we're just
right,
talking, trying to figure
it's
things
in
out.
the more
He
genes.
goes, I know
We
my,
just gonna
I
get
know
there.
my brother,
We ain't got no,
and my
we're not gonna
brother's in
beat it.
love, and he's gonna marry you. I'm like, well, he could marry me, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna marry him. You understand that? So it was just a very interesting situation.
Because me and my siblings were very, very
They're
close.
very close. So when we finally got engaged, that was weird. I started, he took more time for me to be connected to his family, and I took even longer. Like, he was coming around, but I really told him to back off after that we liked each other, because I did admit that I liked each other. I could be pretty prideful, Stokes. So it just was a weird point, because I'm a grown woman and I was hesitant to tell my family how I really felt, because I didn't feel that they were going to accept her. And I thought that was a hindrance, because I didn't feel, and I'm just going to be honest, because Terrence and I've talked about it so much, but now that we're married is really different. But I didn't feel like it was crazy, because I did an injustice in being kind of twofold, because at one point, yes, this is who I really like, but then it's like the other point, people wouldn't expect that I would like this person, and then I in my mind, this is not what was said. This is not who my family would accept. So it's like three things going on inside of me, and it was regardless, it was just a really huge decision. You have to remember, I grew up in a really strict, very methodical, traditional family model. So it was really difficult, because I wanted to not be because you have to remember my story of being such a failure in school and failing. I felt like I'd already failed my family. And if I make a bad decision now, I don't want to fail them again. So it's like, but not being transparent with them in terms of allowing them to really get to know me as a young woman was, I think, a big barrier.
Thanks, Carol.
And a disservice to who he really was, because he helped me so much see life for what it was. You have to remember, I wasn't exposed like that. So he's just been a phenomenal, great protector in my life, and able to see people and their shenanigans and all that kind of stuff, and the other side. And it put me in a great conflict, because it was somebody that I really, really loved. So that was really, really interesting. And that went on for quite some time, until finally it had to be addressed. And it was not the best thing at all, because really, if you think about it, I wasn't being transparent. I wasn't being very truthful about what Cheryl wanted, what I liked. And I think I was just kind of getting to know myself. So sometimes it can be really hard when you're not wanting to be a disappointment. But that was also an ailment of me still carrying my past mistakes and my past failures. And I kept putting that in the middle of my moving forward. And my moving forward, he was a part of that moving forward. And it just made things worse. Sometimes you just have to face and focus forward regardless. And I had to overcome, I still, even when we were married, still kept having to gain triumph over my past. Over my past. Yeah, that's really good terms, over my past. And it really carried on for a while. He really, and then the script flipped, where, he began to encourage me, because I could not get over that. It's just like an internal fear.
Yeah, the ministry flipped. She was helping me, and then I started helping her.
Right. And, out of that, I think it just caused us to realize even more the value of what we brought to one another's life. It's not because we had so many issues internally, but it showed where my weaknesses were, where and his strengths were. And that didn't have to be in a marriage. It could be in a relationship or in a friendship, where you add that value and bring that person back to center and into balance. And that, I think, was really, really good. My sister was very, very supportive. Karen always rose. She don't care what nobody says.
Yeah, that's true.
But I had an affinity about my family's opinion and what they thought. And if push came to shove, I would override what I believe for what they believe. And
me, I didn't care what my family said.
We know.
I was like, I'm going to do what I want to do. And the crazy thing about it is that I knew that this was going to be my wife. I knew it. I knew it before she even knew it. We danced around it. But let me tell you this, and we're going to have to wrap up a little bit. But I knew she was going to be my wife. I was so sure, and I hope that Carol Garfield Goldberg is still on here. I was so sure that she was going to be my wife. I went to the jewelers and started putting a ring on layaway. That's how sure I was. And just by chance that Carol's on here, Carol's family owned a jewelry store at the time. And I went to her, and the family knew our family for years. And I went to her and I told her about Cheryl and everything else. And she knew I had a child as well. And I said, I want a very special ring. I want it different. And they were very creative about, what I wanted. And it was a unique ring. And they made it happen. And I put it on layaway before I even asked her to marry me. That's how sure I was of that this woman was going to be my wife. Morning, Derek. I was just that sure. Yeah. I was just that sure.
So yeah, the engagement. We have to talk about that next week.
Yeah, because I didn't tell my parents that I was going to.
Next week you have to tell them how. Okay, your parents know you. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know that they realized how serious this was. He went to my parents without my knowledge. I was so afraid to go home. Hi, Cheryl. Guess where I'm at? I'm like, where are you? I'm at your house. Like, what? I'm at work. What are you doing there? Your parents told me to come get you on lunch. Talking to your parents because I asked them to marry you. Oh my God!
Ask for permission.
I'm
asking permission.
Okay.
I'm old fashioned.
I'm like, you mind talking to me about this, friend? I was clueless. Y'all don't know what I mean, clueless. We never talked about getting married like that. Let me tell you.
I danced around it in a long way. She didn't catch it.
She didn't catch
it.
Let me tell you, I'm in the file room at work. This is funny. This is gonna make your Monday laugh. Make you laugh for the rest of the day. I'm in the file room at work, filing some stuff. I answer the phone and just here telling me, I'm right here telling my dad is tall. Like, oh my God, my dad is probably like beating you too. I didn't know whether Terrence was bloody or not. I fell on the floor in the file room at work, and I started screaming and rolling on the floor. You ruined my life! You ruined my life! My supervisor comes in. Cheryl, like, he's ruined my life. I hate Terrence. Cheryl was home. They went to go get a doctor. Y'all, it was so bad. They went to go get a doctor. They're all so crazy. Oh, he's coming to get me. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. And then you can I can hear people say she believes in prayer. Should we say a prayer? Oh my God, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. It was on 10. I know, man. It was just because I don't even know what you say about that.
I called the parents to see it because they didn't even know what happened. They didn't know why I was coming. I called them and I asked them if they were going to be home.
Just show up to my parents' house talking about you want to marry me.
And look here,
you mind inviting me into the conversation?
Look here, and the first thing her dad says when I asked for permission for his daughter's hand in marriage, the first thing he says, does Cheryl know about this?
Really? No, I didn't know about it.
I said, no. I said, she has no clue.
Oh, God.
I said, she about to find out.
I know exactly. No.
Her mama look at him, and then look at me.
Me with that.
She had that look this is not going to end well.
This is not going to end well. Okay, we gotta go. But y'all, and now look, we were just talking to them last night. Like, wait a minute, I'm your daughter. Y'all act like this is the favorite.
I am.
Yeah. Something really flipped. Like you let him drive his car, your cars. You won't let me drive. I mean,
that's right. I think I drove their car more than Cheryl drove her car. Drove their car.
Engaged, everything flipped, and I have to say, he won my dad because he's all man and had the boldness to do it.
To go to him
and be, but on the other side, we gotta go. I can't even go there.
Yeah, I gotta
mess
go work.
Up my Monday. I hope that made your Monday laugh. But I hope you. I like what Minister Derek said. I hope what Derek said. This is an evolution, and I believe that all relationships are an evolution, and you have to work through everything that evolves. Does not come into a full functionality, and some things evolve for the future.
Right.
So keep that in its full circle, but things evolve for the future. And, this is great for us because April and next week, 26 years of marriage and counting. It has not been, I won't say, people say it's not all good, it's not all bad. It's a journey. Definitely. It truly is a journey, and it's an evolution of life. But yeah, y'all, I was passed out at work, screaming, traumatized. And pray us out. We gotta go.
And but also like my
all emotional flashbacks.
Like my brother from
emotional flashbacks.
Like my brother from another mother keeps saying,
traumatized me. That's
when you're in a relationship, you have to ask questions. You have to ask questions. If you're going to enter a serious relationship, you better ask who your mama, who your daddy, what kind of relationship you had with your mama, what kind of relationship you had with your daddy. Was any of them drug addicts? How many baby mamas they had and baby daddies they had? You better find out all of that stuff, because here's the reality. You are going to be marrying all of that. You are in a relationship with all their issues. Because that's why I asked, because I need to find out if I'm going to enter a relationship, who am I entering a relationship with? I'm not just entering a relationship with her. I'm entering a relationship with her mama, her daddy, her auntie, all of them. I need to find out who I'm dealing with. Y'all better look here. Anytime y'all are going to relationship, y'all better ask questions. You better get a verbal background check. Look here. You better know what you're dealing with. And after a while, you better make sure you keep asking questions. Make sure the answers are still the same, because, sometimes the answers will change. All right, we got to go for real.
We got to go.
Oh, Lord, I better go. All right. Father,
now I want to go.
Yeah.
Terrence, have you asked him what kind of deodorant you wear?
Look.
I think you did.
I sure did.
Come on, let's go.
Yeah, because
all right, we are way over time. It's supposed to be 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, well that didn't work, and
but I had to tell him how you had me. I was passed out on the floor at work.
I'm gonna have to call and say
screaming in the file room. Screaming in the
Luckily,
file room.
working too far, but I have to call and say I'm just gonna be a few minutes late. All right, Father God, we just thank you for this week. We thank you for allowing us to share our journey. We just thank you for just being I think the more we learn, we talk about this, the more we learn even more about ourselves, and we are able to share that journey with others. And it is just a joy, and the transparency, and just letting people know where we were at that time, and knowing that where you were and where you were in the past is not going to be the way things are going to be in the future as you continue to move forward in grace and mercy and honesty and transparency. So God, we just thank you for just allowing us to just be a blessing, because we were blessed in other people's journey. We pray right now that every person who are seeing this now and have seen it and will see it in the future, that they have a phenomenal and blessed week, that this week be a week of prosperity and advancement and promotion and creativity and understanding and openness, that this week just continue to just blossom into understanding and greatness. And we ask these things, and we declare these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, we out. We love you. God bless you. We out. See you Monday with the Moors. See you next week, or see you Tuesday. Make sure you share this video. Make sure you share this live, and let it be a blessing to others. All right, God bless. We out.